What's up, guys?
Hey.
Yeah, I guess this doesn't like it in landscape mode, where I get the widest angle possible.
I just got a notification from your stream.
Yes! It's working!
Yeah.
Well, at least YouTube isn't fucking around. So, we were in the middle of watching the Home Alone film franchise.
But we ended up deciding to ignore that because this is more important. Also, this movie is doing this 007 thing, which is weird.
Yeah, like the spy equipment, taking pictures with the glove, and
I did make a joke that, the kid Macaulay Culkin, if he actually did use the skill sets he learned from this series, he probably would have been a really good guerrilla beret guy, or green beret guy, or CIA
counterinsurgency, guerrilla warfare. He really would have laid it into them.
agent.
Can you imagine part of his resume is shitting or taking a massive dump on a couple of
ISIS terrorists?
I don't know. I don't think you can call those burglars he was taking a shit on first and second one ISIS, but they sure as hell did look like it.
He made those guys look like cat burglars.
Yeah, he really scared the shit out of them. He almost electrocuted one.
That was actually kind of... I'm surprised those guys are still alive after the hell they went through in that movie franchise.
Nah, you know how safe they are about that.
Yeah, I know. It's like they also have like this. Do not try that at home. Obviously.
All right, so this
we're done talking about this movie because this is about a rant. Because we hate everything about something.
Yeah. What was that?
That's Dad. Hello? No. Yeah, sure. Love you. Bye.
All right, so I'm going to start this rant off.
Don't judge me.
I'm not going to judge you. Relax. Ooh.
All right.
All right, so I want to start this rant off with I guess a sort of blog post. This really can't be seen as news, or it really can't be seen as newsworthy. It's more like an opinion post, or a Twitter, Tumblr, or whatever. It's like this person giving her opinion about the newly released Red Dead Redemption 2 game.
Which we heard good things about.
I've heard nothing but good things about. I mean, seriously.
But someone says otherwise.
And I just gotta go off by saying that this is I'm amazed of how stupid some people can be.
There's always that one person.
There's that one person that has to hate. And by the way, this person hated a bunch of other games for this same sort of reason too. I have no idea. All right. This person is a liberal, and she works for, I guess, an opinion piece news or media company. It's not like the online media where you go on Fox and CNN and MSNBC and a bunch of this other stuff.
Yeah.
It's like an obscure, no-name company that only does like opinion pieces on the internet. There's no video. There's nothing for, something to break down things to explain. Anyways, it's going back to Red Dead Redemption 2, where this person had to complain or rant
about how historically accurate the Native Americans are?
Yes, about how historically accurate the Native Americans in 1871 or 1879 are.
Why aren't the Native Americans using cell phones? Why aren't the Native Americans using firearms? Why aren't they living in the cities?
Simple answer is cities were a new thing back in 1871, 1879. In fact, during that time, there was a thing called the Reconstruction era of the United States of America that was precluding 1865 all the way to 1890, which was close to, 25 years? 25 years?
It was back in during Manifest Destiny. This was hold on, let me go ahead and say this. when we were broadening across the U.S. And we just discovered all this land. Let's just say that well, we just started forming settlements all across the Wild West. So
which can be, from the west of the Mississippi or east of the Mississippi all the way to California. And I don't know. The Reconstruction era was basically any civilian area that was affected by the rage of the Civil War, which included damaged, burnt down buildings, demolished areas, burnt city streets, settlements that were destroyed, or settlements that was used by soldiers, then destroyed. Uh, something like that. And during this time, homelessness and sad things like that were going around and other things. And during the time, Native Americans both helped the Union and the Confederate side of the Civil War. We had Confederate Native Americans who actually didn't have a problem helping out the southern side of the Confederacy, and we had Union Native Americans who were more like trackers and hunters, and I don't think they offered up much for the military side of things. But yeah, Native American both sides of the Civil War. Back to the Liberal Post on this obscure media page that pretty much is not going anywhere. This person took a living shit on every other popular game like Uncharted. You know how popular that game is.
yeah, I know.
And I think if this person had the opportunity, she would take a shit on The Last of Us too.
I better hope she didn't touch Detroit Become Human because I love that game.
That's a good game. Don't touch that. Anyways, she said that the portrayal of a Native American named Charles, a Native American named Charles, who's the
Why does a Native American have a white man name?
because he was adopted into a mostly white roaming Western gang.
I know, I'm just imitating this dumb tard.
Yeah. All right, so she's upset that the portrayal of a Native American living the life of a Native American was accurate, and the person who was motion captioning or capturing and voice acting was not a Native American. Instead, if I were to remember correctly, the person is not white, as she said, red face, as in this person being white is doing a portrayal of a Native American that was actually pretty damn good.
You're not gonna get everything you want when you make a product, okay?
And maybe
This is pretty much why there's so much like a white shaming or white face going on in the movie industries because we have a lot of white actors pretending to be Native Americans, pretending to be Middle Easterns, pretending to be Asians, pretending to be black people in modern day movie roles that we have in place of roles that used to be ethnic, okay? And it really just depends, here, in my opinion, it really either depends how well you do it, or it either depends if it's offensive or not.
well, the only time I ever heard of someone doing red face was a white guy who they painted to be the.
They haven't done red face in a fucking long time.
Yeah, this movie.
Not since Jim Crow.
Hold on, Pat. Hold on. This movie was, I believe, Richard Burton. Don't quote me on that. This guy who was, I guess, he's a Western actor, so he's going to take roles for Western films. He played the role of a Native American, and in that film he did, he was shirtless throughout most of his stunt scenes. His body was painted red. He carried a knife. He used a bow and arrow. He probably portrayed the stereotypical Native American in the trailer, but I'm sure if I watched the movie, I'd probably say he did a close to faithful representation of what Native Americans lived during the Wild West period or the Reconstruction era of the United States of America. to say that it was the most quote unquote savage interpretation of a Native American, but it may have been to the film crew, the director, and the writers a faithful representation and portrayal of what the Native Americans are.
I wouldn't know. I would have to see it.
Yeah, and as far as this Charles thing with the voice actor and motion cap artist being not Native American, therefore it's racist and red face. You seriously with this sort of
You're
mind,
reaching here.
yeah. And furthermore, if you have this sort of mindset that everything in life that you see, that if it's not done by an ethnically correct person, therefore it's instantly bad because it's quote unquote racist, and some people would argue that such a concept exists. You're not enjoying life, and you just need to just I don't want to say Google history because we know how liberal Google is.
Yeah, I know, right?
All right, let me start off with this. Native Americans used bows and arrows. They used stones they turned into blades, and they used bones to make into grips and other weapons. And they used bows and arrows. They relied on nature. They were the best off on the land, living off the land people around in North America. If it wasn't for their help and guidance in showing us how to live here on the North American continent, settlers would have died.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for our help with them, they probably would have still used stone bow arrows instead of like eventually metal ones.
Yeah, like firearms. We offered them. You know, Native Americans, when we showed up, have never seen a steel pot before. Can you imagine that made their diet and cooking a little bit easier than uh, sticking a stick in a fish or in a snake?
Or carving literally a rock into a bowl.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe history itself may be riddled with unfair, inadequate things.
Let me go ahead and say this. It's like the same thing with documentaries. The person that's producing a documentary is trying to portray you the story they want you to believe. It's the same thing with books. It's trying to portray you the story that they want you to believe, whether it's nonfiction or not. And from what I'm saying, just try and have everything with a grain of salt. Don't try and believe everything with a whole shaker, okay?
And let me ask this. I assume some of you guys have seen my video about the anti-hunter and how shameful they should be.
Yeah.
Hold on. This is my bit right here. I see that smile.
I really want to go into this.
All right. Native Americans, along with many other people who arrived on the land and then later learned how to become better trackers, hunters, trappers, and things that later developed into a economical trade. Do you think liberals have a problem with Native Americans because they were such great hunters, or do you think they just have a problem with white people who are hunters? That's actually an interesting question I propose because liberals and vegans have a problem with white people going out and killing rabbits because that's a sentient, living, thinking, feeling thing.
Okay.
And Native Americans have been doing the same thing for thousands of years without much thought on it. They actually give thanks to the animal that it enables them to survive.
Actually, I heard this thing where I heard that people that are against hunting are against natural hunting in general too. Like if you go out and kill an animal with a bow and arrow.
They just have a problem with hunting, period.
They just don't like it if you kill an animal.
Alright, I give my opinion about hunting. I'm in full support of it. It's conservation, agriculture.
Illegal.
Yes, if you're paying for the stamps, if you're paying for the cards, if you're getting drawn, if you're not poaching, and
if you're not trying to draw the animal outside of its reservation,
and luring it, and all these other dick things. You know, I'm for hunters who are doing everything that's justified in hunting. You know, not being a massive dick and luring the animal away from its.
like that dentist with Cecil.
Yeah.
Like, dick move right there.
It was. That's at least the one thing I can agree with Jimmy Kimmel on. Is like, how small of a dick do you have to? I know it was a pretty sad joke.
There's literally medication for that. That was funny.
Yeah. Look, people have a problem with some things that are entertaining because it's entertaining. I think liberals have a problem with some form of media and films because too many white people are acting in ethnically incorrect portrayals. Like when the Christian Bale did, what was it, Moses in that one movie?
What movie? I know it wasn't Prince of Egypt.
It wasn't Prince of Egypt. It was a live action one. But
Oh no, not that one!
yeah,
That was the worst movie! That was the worst portrayal of Exodus! At least with Prince of Egypt, it actually had 600 people having to help the storyboard writers actually get it accurate. I shit you not!
and most of the people in that film were Jewish.
Actually, they had 600 people, Christian, Catholic, Muslim, and Jewish, actually help get Prince of Egypt to be as accurate sort of portrayal of Exodus as possible.
And a lot of liberals today have a problem with that because it's quote unquote racist.
Ooh.
I just gotta say, if you're putting something out with such an easy explanation as to why you don't like it, you instantly kill any sort of analysis of why you don't like it. You know, actual critical thinking as to why you may not like it. This is why I don't take you people seriously
Do
because
people just not know how to be happy?
I'm thinking a lot of these people are just clinically depressed when they say things like sexist, racist, homophobic, transphobic.
This is kind of why I avoid this kind of content. I used to like check it out because I thought it was funny, and then I'm like, oh God, these people actually think and feel this way. Jesus.
And not only do they think and feel this way, but the moment you discredit them by proposing your viewpoint, and by the way, it's not facts, it's not opinion. Your viewpoint may be your opinion, it may be your fact, it may be the truth they're denying. But the moment you just offer an opposing viewpoint, they get violent.
Yeah, it's very true, and it's like, hey guys, it's okay to be wrong sometimes.
And that would be a good way to end this live stream off at. Because it's going on 18 minutes, and I know you guys like my shorter videos. So,